start. We have a few more minutes, or a few minutes over already, and I don't want to keep you too long tonight, although it's not night for everyone. But maybe a few more people will join in a few minutes that we'll see. It's actually nice to have a bit of a smaller group because it makes it way more interactive, and that's definitely one of the things I want. So I want to start, first of all, with saying welcome and thank you for joining. I'm glad you're here, and definitely, like, I want this cluster, I said it a little bit, so it's obviously a topic that's on a lot of people's minds, and it's one of those, like, how to say, no-brainers. Everyone's focusing on it. At the same time, there's quite a few how to say, thoughts and visions around immunity and boosting immunity out there at the moment that are slightly conflicting as well. So it's interesting to dive a little bit into that. I'm going to dive a little bit into what the immune system actually is and how it works. I'll do my best to not get too boring or technical, and I'm definitely not a biologist or whatever. So I'm not going to, it's not going to be too complicated, but just a little bit so you guys understand it. And we're definitely also going to have a look at how can you then actually boost that immune system? What can we do? And the bigger question there is, because probably not all of it, but I think a lot of the things that we will discuss in terms of kind of the immune boosting practices, you guys will probably know or be aware of. At the same time, often we don't do it for several reasons. So that's definitely a part of it as well that I would like to discuss. How you can, like, sort of practically manifest these habits into your, let's call it, lockdown life. Okay. So yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about. But what I would love for you guys to do is maybe super quick, by the way, because it's such a small group. Let's do a really quick introduction round. I know all three of you, but you don't know each other. We can do that. And then once we've done that, like, I'm going to talk a lot, but I would love for you guys to just jump in whenever you have something to say, share an experience, ask a question or whatever. It's not a monologue. It's not meant to be a monologue. So please jump in, feel free to share. And for me, it's one of those things, like, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a health coach. I'm supposed to know a lot of these things. At the same time, nutrition is such a big playing field, and there's so many different views and viewpoints and theories out there that I am always quite cautious, let's say, in stating things that are truth. There's not a lot today that I will talk about as truth. Everything is debatable, if that makes any sense. I'd like it to be a discussion topic, and I will share with you what I know and what I've learned and experienced, but nothing is really truth, if that makes sense. So feel free to challenge, feel free to share whatever you want to share. I would love to hear your stories, of course. So let's do a really quick introduction round. Sam, do you want to start? Just who you are, where you're from, maybe where we met, and why you're here?
Yeah. Okay. So my name's Sam. I am from California, and that's where I am right now. But I was living in Bali for the past year. That's where we met. And yeah, what else am I supposed to say?
Why you're here tonight?
Oh, why I'm here. Okay. Yeah, I've always been really interested in nutrition and how it can sort of, like, I really believe that the food we eat makes a huge difference in our body's ability to fight off sort of a virus or an illness. And so I love reading everything about, like, nutrition and, like, how it impacts our immune system. And I don't, that's just like candy for me. Like, I can't get enough. So yeah, I'm really excited to learn more and hear what you guys know. And yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Lise, do you want to go next, or you're still doing your earphones?
Yeah, 1 second, I'm doing my earphones.
Okay, Miruna first then.
Hi, I'm Miruna. I live in Amsterdam. I'm Romanian originally, and I met Mirthe in Bali last year at a yin yoga class.
Even Nusa Lembungana, was it right?
Yes, exactly. And that was the best yin yoga I've ever had.
Yay!
So I'm happy you're closer now, although
Yeah,
not
exactly. Amazing.
Why I'm here tonight, I've been trying to shift to a more healthy lifestyle. And with this virus going on, I think it's good to learn more about nutrition and immunity and how we can improve it all the time, not just now. So
yeah, good one. Very true. Okay, thanks. Lies, ready?
Yes, I'm plugged in properly now. Lieske from the Netherlands, still living in the Netherlands. We met, I think, when was it? 2009 or something? Yeah, during university, during our master. We did in Nijmegen. And at the moment, still in the Netherlands. I have a young daughter of 2 sleeping in the next room. So if she wakes up, I'm running out. But, I hope she will stay asleep. Now, for me now, most interested in some more basic, practical, easy to pick up small things in our hectic life. We try to. We are locked in now with the 3 of us in a small space. But also trying to get our work running and just daily life with our daughter. So we just I'm just interested in some small practical tips.
Good. We'll cover that for sure.
And more the just overall theory.
I'll try to not spend too much time on the boring part, but it's just to set the scene and then we'll dive into the practical stuff. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Just a quick check before we continue. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. So to begin, the boring part. Haha. It's actually not. It's quite interesting. It's funny. Once you dive into this, you're like, oh my gosh, the body is actually an amazing thing. Your immune system. So what is it to begin? So I'm 100% sure you all have heard about this, and you may hear this for I don't know how many times you know all of it, but I am going to repeat it. Your immune system is your body's natural defense mechanism against any type of foreign invader that may threaten your health. And that means actually that your immune system defends us against any type of not okay, disease-causing microorganism stuff that we can't even see with our bare eye, of course. So it's a pretty cool system. The thing about it is, though, it's a system that straight away creates an issue. It's not a one single entity kind of a thing. It is a system, and that means that a system needs to be in balance. So that's straight away one of the biggest issues that a lot of people have, to keep that in balance. And balance comes from so many different angles, and we'll talk through those angles. So balance and harmony is really important for our immune system to do what it's supposed to do, and that's fighting off any foreign invader when it enters the body. When your immune system, it can obviously be off balance, or it can have a disorder or something. So there's a few ways to look at this. So one way is when it's kind of underworking, it's less effective or it's less active than it's supposed to be. That happens when a lot of, for example, inflammatory diseases may come up. The other side of it, when it's overreacting or overworking, being too effective almost, when it's working too hard, you come into the autoimmune disease kind of category, which you've probably heard about. So we're talking things like diabetes then, that kind of stuff. What the body does then, it's attacking its own healthy cells. It sees its own healthy cells as foreign invaders, which is obviously not true. So there's something literally wrong in the automatic programming of your body and of its cells at that point in time. So you can have an immune system imbalance, you can have it underworking, you can have it overworking. And obviously we want to have it in balance. The other thing about your immune system is that what it does, so it constantly recreates new cells. And those cells fight off the bad stuff that comes in. That's a natural process. That process, though, decreases over the course of the years when you get older. And that's exactly straight away also the reason why older people in a situation like this with corona going around are way more prone to get it. And also the people that have a weaker immune system, because you have less cells to fight off all of that. So it's something that sort of naturally degrades over time, if that makes any sense. And the other interesting part about your immune system is that it's actually got two components or two elements: the innate part and the adaptive part. The innate part is the part of your immune system that, what's the best example? Let's assume, I'm not sure, Lisa, about you, but we've all been to Bali. Have you been to Bali?
Yes.
Okay, we've all been to Bali. Then you probably know the term Bali belly. So
Yeah.
when you eat something that has a bacteria on it that's not good for you, you eat it. Within, sometimes even 15 minutes, your body's like, fuck that, I need to get rid of it. That's your innate immune system telling your body out. The adaptive part is the one that takes a bit longer, and that's the one that has the memory as well. So this comes into play when, for example, we talk about becoming immune for something. So even corona right now, people are already talking about you need to get it once and hopefully we'll live through it because we can handle it. Our immune system is strong enough. And then the next time you should be maybe not 100% immune, but at least more immune or better able to handle it. Yeah. So immunity is kind of the memory of your immune cells. That's the adaptive part of your system. So it's two parts: innate, that's the immediate response, and the adaptive part, which takes a bit more time, and which has the memory. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a little bit of background around what it actually is. Then how does it work? So, pardon me. When we look at those foreign invaders, there are things that make you sick, like bacteria, viruses, fungi. But where do they come from? Literally the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, just whatever you swallow, or even get into your skin, into an open wound, can be anything. And the immune system is actually there straight away. Whatever comes in, good or bad, it checks. It's like a security check. It's like constantly working to screen whatever comes in, blood, tissues, organs, wherever it ends up, to check, is this a good cell or is this a bad cell? And your body naturally flags any foreign one and does a full-on investigation onto it. And kind of what happens is that your white blood cells are the ones that come with so many, and that's part of your immune system, that they produce antibodies. And those antibodies literally just eat up the foreign cell that they have sort of flagged as you're a threat and you're not good. So it's not things like washing away, they actually eat it up. And that's quite interesting as well. And then your body, again, learns from that experience and will recognize, and that's how smart apparently we are, will recognize for a second time or a third time or whatever it's going to be, that threat it has seen before. So there's a huge memory part here as well. So it's super interesting. There's a lot of stuff happening literally with the brain as well. It's going up and down, all kinds of signs going around. But it's the white blood cells that are important to know. Those are the ones that see the pathogens, as they call them. That's kind of the bad stuff that comes in. It's called a pathogen. And they eat them up and consume them out, and then it's done. So all this, that's literally the simplest way to explain it. All this is the normal, natural response of your body. It's supposed to be like that, 100%. The problem arises that, and that has nothing even to do with Corona, it has to do with the way we live and the way our society is set up and the way we treat ourselves and our bodies. That process should not be constantly on. It should go up when there's something foreign, not okay coming in, and it should come down again, and it should go up again and come down again. What you see right now happening over the past years already, that it stays on. And that's where the problem starts. Because
you mean just during over the years in the way we are living it.
It's almost a chronic thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So what happens?
So not only these weeks with Corona, but in general.
No.
You mean in
society,
okay.
life, 100%. Yeah. So the reason why that is an issue is that an immune system in itself, when it's weak, there's not enough energy left to fight off the stuff that's like really, really bad, like a coronavirus. So this is why it's so important to keep your immune system healthy and strong. Because when it's being triggered by too many other things, so coronavirus is one thing, it's obviously a very obvious one, but there are so many things like the food we eat, the water we drink, the people we hang out with, all the bacteria that we get from just, putting our hands everywhere and sneezing and coughing, the air we breathe, all of that, if you keep triggering your body constantly, day in, day out, every hour of the day, it's just literally an overload. It's an overload, it's an overworking again of that immune system, and it means that it's just too tired. There's no energy left to actually fight off the stuff that could kill you. And that's why it's so important to work your immune system, especially in times like this. And this is straight away actually almost my main point, I think, of what I wanted to tell you guys today as well, is that's the time. So when your immune system is weak already, from other reasons, not corona, other reasons, and corona comes in, you're way too prone to catch it because there's nothing left. And the problem there is, I think it's more like a misunderstanding that a lot of people have, is that boosting your immune system in itself is not a cure. It's not even a full prevention method. You will get, like, somewhere you have probably already picked up this virus that has gone around. But what you working on your immune system and boosting it, as we call it, what that means is that you reduce any other trigger. And that helps you to be ready and to save all your energy for that immune system to show up and do what it's supposed to do when corona hits you, or anything else that's bigger than, just a random flu. That's what it does. So I hope that, that's a really, I think, important one, because everyone talks about, boost your immune system, and it's so important. And it is. At the same time, boosting your immune system in itself is not really the thing, if that makes sense, because it doesn't cure corona, and it doesn't even prevent you from getting it. The only thing it does is that it creates space for your body to act the best way it can. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the most important message, at least when it comes to the whole background here. And this is a misconception. There's a lot of people that think that if I boosting my immune system is a cure or something, or it fully will prevent me from getting it. No, you will get it, but the way your body responds to it is going to be very, very different. And it's the same with any other disease as well, even with the simple flu. So yeah, okay. If we've said that, then boosting it, I think that's not even the right word, but I did use it because everyone calls it like that. But I think it's more, how to say, maybe relaxing even your immune system or something like that. So how can we do that? By the way, any questions so far? That was literally all the more theoretic stuff that I wanted to cover. Is that clear? Is there anything we need to discuss there, or you want to ask?
No, I was just wondering, I saw a little clip today also about the virus and the immune system, and that the difference between men and women is that women are, they react stronger in the defense of a virus. And so your body can easier cope with a virus like this. Mm-hmm. So maybe it costs you less energy to cope with the virus than for men. I don't know if you've read anything about it, but yeah, not only for this virus, it's just in general.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing for women, is that it's easier for women to cope with a virus like this. So yeah, it's still, this point is still there, that you need to relax it and to boost it, of course, but I was just interested in if there's also a difference for men and women in how to deal with this then as well.
I don't think the way to deal with it is different. I think the measures, the practices would be the same. But so I've obviously heard this news as well, that men are way more prone than women are. And I think that's in general because as far as I know, I don't have the research on this, so don't quote me on it. But as far as I know, a woman's immune system is stronger in itself naturally than a man's. May have something to do with hormones, I don't know, to be honest, but that's common. Yeah. So I think that's part of it, because you see the people that are being caught by the coronavirus are the people with weak immune systems.
Yeah.
It's the sick, it's the old, it's young people that have already something, you know. So it would make a lot of sense that just in general, because women have stronger immune systems than men do, even if it's just a little bit, that the numbers for men are higher. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I was also interested in if there's what you say, if there's a link between your hormones and the immune system, but I don't know if there's anything about that.
Oh, that's a whole discussion in itself, I would say.
Okay.
And I have to say I'm not an expert on that part, because hormones are, yeah, how to say?
Complex.
Yeah, it's super complicated. There's so much information on that. It's actually a good point. Maybe I should cover that off in a separate session at some point. I'll think about that. I think that there's definitely an impact. So for women, and this is, again, you've probably heard this before, but such an important reason why women in periods, and I'm actually reading an amazing book right now. Where is it? Wait. It's in Dutch, but I'll send the English version.
I don't know.
Probably something like a cyclist strategy, I think.
Yeah.
Probably. What this is about? Is it that how like, first of all the theory behind periods and hormones and all that kind of stuff, but it keeps repeating how important it is for women to listen to their cycles and to start to tune in with their cycles, the hormones that come around in each phase of the cycle, you know. If we do that, and that is maybe, there you may have a point, Lise, about different practices for men and for women. This is also probably one of the practices. I think that's actually a really valid point. That if
to
we
stay close to your cycle. Yeah.
And to live your life based on where you are in your cycle. So, you know, just after a period, like your period is your winter, your ovulation 2 weeks later is your summer. So your winter, we need to slow down. Like your autumn, you already start to slow down. We start to eat differently. We start to nourish ourselves. We start to pull back a little bit and make ourselves smaller and, you know, be alone more and rest more and that kind of stuff. And then in spring and summer, we're on full force. Like when it comes to, for example, having big meetings or starting new projects and, you know, things like that. When it comes to work, spring and summer is the time to do that. If you have an important presentation, try to plan it in your spring or your summer, not in your, you know, your fall or your winter. So if we tune in with those cycles, it means that we are also balancing our immune system more. So imagining that you are, and like, we're going to cover this off for sure, because it's almost a main component, I would say. Like food is a huge component when it comes to immune system, but stress levels are too. So imagine the stress on your body when you are in your, let's say, fall going into winter, and you have a super important meeting or a presentation. That's kind of pushing it too hard for your nervous system. Have you guys heard of your sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system? Yeah? No? Okay, I'll do it real quick. Your nervous system, right? You have two elements of it, two parts, or two responses actually. One is your sympathetic, and the other is your parasympathetic. Your sympathetic nervous system is the part of your nervous system that, and I always take the stupid example of when we were cavemen and we had to run for a saber-tooth tiger that was hunting us, your sympathetic nervous system goes on. It's like full on adrenaline. You go running like a crazy motherfucker.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Literally life is that's the most important thing. So it's full on adrenaline. What happens in that state is that every other bodily function, digestion, blood circulation, brainwave, like anything else kind of stops. Not 100%, but at least halves. I don't know the details, but stops. Just because your body wants all the energy to run for your life. Your parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite. So sympathetic is fight or flight mode, as we call it. Your parasympathetic nervous system is your rest and digest. And that's obviously, this is quite obvious, I think, what that means. And resting really means resting. There's a big thing here in this society where we think that resting means laying on the sofa and scrolling through Instagram for an hour. It's not, right? So resting, digesting, and digesting is interesting too, because it's digesting food, yes, but it's also digesting life, all the experiences that we go through. We tend to go on way too fast. So this is the problem. We kind of live 90% in our sympathetic nervous system, and that's unhealthy. We need both. When you do for example, super intense HIIT training in the gym, you're in your sympathetic nervous system, clearly. That's amazing because it's good for a lot of reasons. It strengthens your bones, your muscles, and your blood cells as well. At the same time, if you do that, and this is one of the things, funny enough, I have so many coachees that come to me for health coaching, and they go to the gym and they do something crazy like 5-6 days a week. It's too much. So it's always about balance. So sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system is really important. And with the example of having that important meeting in your winter, when it comes to periods, you're overdoing it on your sympathetic nervous system while you're actually supposed to be in your parasympathetic nervous system at that time. So it's triggering your body in too many ways. It's asking too much, and that's where it relates to your immune system, of course, that way too much of your immune system cells are being asked to support that. So when it comes to men, women, I think the alignment of us women with our periods and the flow with that and the phases that we go through and listening to that will help your immune system, again, not because it gives it a boost, it just helps to balance it. But it's a really good point, Lisa. I hadn't even thought of covering that off specifically. So thanks for raising it.
Is this why, like the sympathetic system, is this like, you know, when marathon runners, like they finish running and like you have to like immediately find a bathroom because all of a sudden your like digestion has started again and you're like, I'm gonna have to like find a toilet or I'm gonna like shit my pants. Is that what causes it?
Sounds like it, because what you do on a marathon is full on adrenaline.
Okay. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay.
So it's literally, it's the same thing. For example, I don't know if you recognize this, but and I'm sorry for the detail, but when I'm stressed, I can't go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, it's just because your digestion is one of those bodily functions that stops or doesn't work at least as effective as it usually does when you're focused on other things that are supposedly more important when you're really stressed.
Yeah,
So
I get the like stomach pains, and then I know it immediately. That's just a stress reaction of my body.
It's a really funny thing now we're on this anyways when it comes to especially women and when it comes to sympathetic, parasympathetic. Again, so many coaches come to me, I want to lose weight, right? And then what they do, they've been going to the gym 5 days a week. And all I tell them is make that 2 and do a yin class the other 3 days. And they look at me, what? And this is because when you're constantly in your sympathetic nervous system and all those other bodily functions stop, your metabolism is one of those. Yeah. So a lot of people that overdo it in the gym actually gain weight because instead of metabolizing and digesting all the food that you eat, it's not working anymore. It stays on the body. Second of all, when you're in a stress state, your body responds with, I need to collect fat because I need to take care of myself in winter times. Yeah. That's literally what it's doing. It's its natural response. So doing more is not always, I know this is a different discussion, but I just wanted to mention and point it out. But doing more is not always the cure if you want to lose some weight, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Sometimes it is, but not always.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So let's dive a little bit into some of the practices. And again, please just stop me or jump in whenever you want to erase something. I wanted to start obviously with food because it's the most obvious one, right? Mm-hmm. Food is actually very obviously, clearly a foreign invader because you literally like put it in your body. It's not something natural that's made on the inside. So of course, your immune system responds to it and straight away is going to check it out and see if anything's wrong with it. Now, the interesting part here, and this is why food is like you are what you eat, and food is so much the source or the base, not the reason always. That's such an important factor when it comes to all diseases that we think we get, and it's normal to get on a later age, like arthritis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, diabetes, asthma, cancer, even like all those. We find it, I find this so interesting still. We find it so normal that we get one of those things when we get older. It's actually not. It's something that's only come up over the past, let's say, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 years. And it's because of what we eat these days. So there's a huge relationship between what we eat and the diseases that we get to have thrown we out to those diseases. And the reason for that is 70% of your immune cells is in your gut. More even than that. That's a lot. So literally the lion's share of your immune system is in your gut. So you can imagine what the impact is of what you put into your gut on that immune system and how hard it, and again, in the corona discussion, how hard your immune system needs to work to fight off anything else already. So 70% is there. There's a lot of research done on this as well. And even though it's still one of those things where, again, there's not per se a direct link between I eat spinach today and then my immune system is better tomorrow. That's not, that's not still 100% where it is. The research that is there says more stuff like that they know that in, for example, developing countries where people are poor and malnourished, people are way more prone to disease and way more prone to even die from it, from simple things like a flu or a cold. That's more kind of the type of research that's out there. But again, it's not per se about the direct relationship. It's again, taking away the triggers so the immune system is ready to work on the bigger stuff. So that's where the food comes in. And with that 70% of immune cells in your stomach, those healthy immune system warrior kind of cells, whatever you want to call them, they need proper nutrition. And they feed on like nutrient-rich, vitamin-rich, healthy foods. The opposite happens too. So with that 70% in your stomach, the moment you feed yourself with the stuff that we don't find so good, like processed foods, like bad fats, like bad sugars, coffee, alcohol, all those things, when you do that, you're actually feeding the bad ones. So there's two things happening. You're feeding the bad gut bacteria, that's one, and you're over-triggering your immune system cells That's 2, the white blood cells. So that's 2 reasons why your body's working its bloody ass off to stay balanced in itself, let alone a coronavirus cell coming in and throwing everything apart. So again, what you eat is to support your immune system and to have it as ready as it can be for something bigger. Now, I guess you probably know this, like what are the foods to eat. To summarize it, eat a whole food diet. That's the most simple way to say it. What I mean with that, you may know what it means, but I'll just say it. What I mean with that is eat as close towards the earth as you can. So nothing prepared, nothing in a plastic cover, nothing in a pot. Just fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains wherever you can, compared to white grains, nuts, seeds, some meat. And when we talk about this in specific, choose the, let's say, lighter white meats like chicken or anything poultry. A bit of fish, really good fats in that. Omega-3 is really amazing for immune system boost as well.
What was the last thing you said?
Fish, a little bit of fish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask something about that? Because I don't eat fish. So do you have a good alternative to fish or anything compensating?
Are you vegetarian or vegan?
No. No vegan, no vegetarian, just no fish.
No fish.
So,
okay.
And I think 80% vegetarian. Like we try to reduce our meat, just some meat during the week, but mainly vegetarian.
Yeah, got it. So your best, the thing is, what you always want to have a look at, and that's the, let's say, common mistake a lot of vegans mostly make, because it's obviously when you're vegetarian, you still eat eggs and some cheese and yogurt often.
Yeah.
The common mistake a lot of vegans make is that when they decide, I'm going to stop eating meat or fish, doesn't even matter. I'm just going to take out a whole food group. Okay. But what do I replace it with? And they just continue eating what they were already eating. They just take something out.
Yeah.
With that, and that's what you want to have a look at with the fish. What do you miss then when it comes to nutrients and vitamins? So you want to make sure that you get some protein and some healthy fats, because that's what you miss when you skip the fish. Now, your proteins, if you still eat meat, then eat some chicken, turkey, whatever. Of course, that's the obvious bit. The other thing is beans, legumes.
Yeah.
So the only problem is, and I'm happy to cover that off real quick, with proteins, is that a human body needs 11 strains of protein. I think 1 or 2 of them we synthesize ourselves within our bodies. The other 9 need to come from food. If you eat a piece of steak, you get all 11 even in 1 piece of steak. However, if you're vegan and you only eat beans, chickpeas only have 1 strain. Kidney beans only have 1 strain. So no, the other sources too. There's only 1 or 2 strains that most of the beans and other like protein sources for vegans have, and that's the biggest problem. So if you skip fish, you do have meat, so that helps in that sense. But just in general, it's really important to change up your beans and use different types of beans. So you go from chickpea to lentils to cannellini to there's so many. The one other vegan dish, by the way, or which actually is what's the seed, by the way, is quinoa. Quinoa does have all 11 strains, so it's a great source of protein as well.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the protein side. And then the fat side, you'll get from oils, healthy oils, olive, coconut, avocado, sesame, walnut oils, those. Be really careful with any flour oil. You may do that already, I don't know, but the flower oils, the way they're produced is very chemical.
Okay.
So oils and nuts and seeds. But again, different nuts, different seeds have different properties, different vitamins, different nutrients. So how I work in my daily life, it's a bit different obviously here, but I have to admit, I literally bought, I think, almost everything again. The first thing I arrived here almost 2 weeks ago now. I'm at my friend's place. I love her, but she's not the best cook and she knows it. And she doesn't cook that often. But I went to the Albert Heijn, and that's the biggest supermarket chain, by the way, here. And the first thing I buy is 2 types of oils and literally a whole, like 5, 6, 7 different types of seeds. I'm allergic to nuts, so I can't eat nuts and peanuts, but I get a whole bunch of different types of seeds. So when you have that ready, that's how I live my cooking life, then all the condiments, all the let's say basic stuff is there. My oils are there, different types of oils, and I always have a bunch of nuts and seeds in my case available. I have a bunch of whole grains available that I can switch them up throughout the week. And I always have things like onions and garlic and lemon, ginger. That's the stuff that I have always available. And then the fresh stuff on top of it. But if you have all those kind of more the dry stuff and the stuff that you can keep for longer, it helps you to, today I have pumpkin seeds, tomorrow I have chia seeds, and the day after you have flax seeds to give you the different nutrients. So that's the way how I would look at what can I eat. So beans are good when it comes to the how to say, satisfaction around the food. They're very solid and satisfying. And the other option is a bean as well, but it's tempeh or tofu, soybean fermented. The only thing there is I would always be very careful with too much soy, because soy is for hormones, for women, very tricky.
Yeah.
But if you have that, I don't know, twice a week in some form, if you have a soy latte or a soy yogurt and you eat tempeh ones, it's fine, but just don't overdo that. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at the same time making a shopping list for next week.
I think you may want to share the list with the other two.
we just did groceries tonight, but for next week it's almost ready now.
Yeah.
No, I think we have most of it, but some is like, it's good to have some alternatives as well, to mix.
Yeah.
Because I think now I stick most of the time to 1 or 2 types, and maybe it's better to,
and that's the thing. So you should look at it like this. There's a lot of people that I have been coaching, for example, and they're like, they actually eat super healthy, like super healthy. And then they're like, I have no energy. And then you look through there, because I usually work with like a food diary or something for like a week or so. And then you look through that, and what you see is like, they eat spinach every day. They eat chia seeds every day. They have avocados every day. Well, avocados is, by the way, an amazing source for healthy fats as well, of course. But okay. But that's like almost all they eat. And I'm like, diversity is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So change it up, switch it up. I've got like, you know, when you go grocery shopping and this week is like, okay, let's do zucchinis and aubergines and pumpkin, and then the next week you do some cabbage and cucumbers and carrots. Like, I try to change it up as much as I can, spread it out, so I get over the course, not of a day or not even a week, but over the course of weeks, you keep changing up different vegetables, different grains, different sources of protein, different sources of fat. So actually my answer, or let's say my tip for boosting your immune system, would be in general to just eat a whole food diet. So fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, healthy sources of protein and fat, different, like the diverse sources of protein and fats, beans, whatever. But there's a few things that are a bit more specific, because they contain a lot of vitamin C. Vitamin C is the vitamin that's, let's say, most boosting for your immune system. So green tea, green vegetables, citrus fruits, bell peppers, amazing source of vitamin C. Nuts and seeds for things like zinc as well, and omega-3 again. Poultry and shellfish, supposedly as well, also again for vitamin C. And then there's things like, so for example, for me that's already a habit, but in these times especially, you may do this when you have a flu yourself, is instead of having a cup of coffee in the morning first thing, or a normal cup of tea, make a cup of hot water with freshly cut ginger, turmeric if you have, garlic even. It's not the nicest, but once you get used to it, it's so good. It's really, really good. And it's just like a clove of garlic, cut it in 2 or 3 big pieces, and add it just like you would with ginger into your hot water. Let it soak for a little bit, and it's an amazing way to, also for a normal flu, or a little cold, like if you have a stuffy nose or something, works really good. And then a squeezed lemon in it, and that does 2 things. 1, it boosts your immune system, or it supports the immune system. 2, it is a different reason, but it gets your digestion going. So if you have that first thing in the morning, it starts digestion. But yeah, those are like a few. I want to give you guys a few specific foods, but in general, just a whole food diet will do the trick for you. What you want to have a look at there is the diversity and adding color to your plate. So make sure you've got different colors coming from all the ingredients that you use. So the more color, the better. And again, different colors have different properties, so different benefits. So that's where the diversity comes in again. Drink a shit ton of water. And what's interesting as well is to maybe go a little bit lower on, and this is again specific for immune system stuff, go a little bit lower on carbs and sugar. Because carbs and sugar, also related to hormones, what they do, they give you a sugar peak. So your insulin levels go all the way up. And that's quite a, that's quite a trigger for your immune system. That's not a problem because we need some of it to use for energy. But if we overdo that, again, it's a trigger in your immune system, and your body can just not process it. So it ends up in it ends up in your fat cells, for example. That's not necessarily related to your immune system, but also not great. So what you want to try with carbs and sugar, if you eat carbs and sugar, eat the natural carbs and sugars. So grains, take the whole grains, not the white ones, and take sugar over, fruits over candy, of course, and cookies and stuff like that. Because that really, really supports that immune system too. I guess that's a little bit on the food part. Any questions about that? Okay. And then there's a bunch of other things. Some are super obvious. Again, moving. Yeah, you probably know it, but why? Why does this help your immune system? It activates literally wakes up your immune cells. So getting into that sympathetic state for just a little while, not forever, not your whole day, but for an hour or so, is really good to wake up your immune cells and get them to work. You probably know this one, but it also reduces your stress by releasing the happiness hormone. So it does something to your mood as well. And that stress reduction, we'll get to that, is super important too. And it accelerates the circulation of those white blood cells that we talked about. So the more they circulate through your body, the better they are able to pick up any foreign invader again. So movement is literally to get your body on the inside moving as well, and to get that immune system to work. So really important. And that doesn't mean, like we just talked about as well, that it has to be a super intense workout every day or a run. It can be a walk. Like Bali is not a walking country, so I haven't been walking much for like 3 years, I guess. And now I'm walking every day, at least for 45 minutes, just to get your body moving and to, and that's all it needs. Sometimes that's enough, or a soft yoga flow, or do some stretches, or do some, maybe you've got some weights at home, some little things, or, you know, a hula hoop, even go hula hooping or go dancing for 15 minutes, whatever. Anything to get that moving. So that's a really important one as well, supporting your immune system.
Is there a difference, if you do it in the morning or in the evening, like with the water and the lemon in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Is it helpful to start the day with some exercise or walking, or?
That answer is, there is an answer to it. It just is not related to this discussion because it depends on your body type. So you may have, did you hear of Ayurveda?
Yeah.
So Ayurveda is, a lot of people know it as a diet, but it's actually a lifestyle. And what Ayurveda does, and that's why, like, I'm not eating or something per se, living my life according to it, but there's little bits and pieces that I do. What I love about it is that it's one of the few dietary theories that looks at food from a bio-individual perspective. And what I mean with that is everybody's different. What I eat, like, I'm allergic to nuts. You can eat nuts, I can't. So my body responds differently to nuts than yours does. And Ayurveda takes that into account. And they talk about, I don't know if you've heard of this, but there's 3 doshas, which are kind of people types. So you've got pittas, vatas, and kaphas. And I won't go into the details, but I'm happy to send you, I'll send you guys the link to my favorite books about it, and explains it all. But there's 3 different doshas. We all have some of each type, but there's always 1, sometimes 2 that are dominant. I'm very much a pitta, which is very fiery and active and outgoing. But that means that because I'm already so much fire, for example, me eating spicy food, not so great. Like, I can handle it in my mouth. I've been loving spicy food for a long time, but it's my constitution, if that makes any sense, does not like spicy food. Yeah. And why I get to this is because Ayurveda does not only look at the food part, they also look at they literally give you, so every dosha has a time of the day that's their time. Every dosha has a time of the year that's their type of time of the year. You have all kinds of other habits. You have physical traits, things that you can recognize a pitta for, a vata for, and a kapha for. So your answer, or the answer to your question, is not per se related to the discussion that we're having today about immune system, but it has to do with your constitution and whether it's better for you or not. Like, I prefer to, and that's actually not my pitta side, it's my vata side, to start with my cup of hot water, and even have that, I have that after my exercise. I literally have 2 sips of water just to get the dryness out of my mouth in the morning. And then I do my workout or my run or my yoga or whatever I'm doing. And only after that, I have my cup of tea first, and then I have a breakfast. That works for me. So
Actually,
it depends for you, like what feels best. What do you want to say, Marina?
I was reading a book this weekend by Robin Sharma, The 5 a.m. Club, which is all about, you know it?
Yeah.
It's all about the idea of waking up at 5 a.m. and all the benefits, and how if you exercise first thing in the morning, your cortisol levels go down and all that. And it takes 66 days on average to get into the habit. So I did my first day this morning. I'm feeling better.
Did you love it?
I mean, it was really, I realized that my brain wasn't awake. So I wasn't realizing what I was doing. So I could run longer, which was great. But the whole day I felt like I was run by a truck. But I'm going to try it again tomorrow. So I don't know.
Well, you obviously do need some time to get into the habit. That's part 1. But I'm not against this. And there are a few scientific reasons what he mentions around particular hormones that, start up throughout your body in different times throughout the day. That is true. At the same time, just not everyone's the same. Like
Yeah.
a kapha type person, that's the more, not per se in weight, but it's more the heavier type of people, the slower type of people. They're usually a bit more like broaderly built, and that kind of people. They should sleep in. They can't do too much crazy stuff in the morning. And you've got the lighter ones, which are the vata types. They're the airy, like, like I'm floating. And the pittas as well. Like, if I remember correctly, I think the pitta. Oh, no, I'm not going to say it because I may say it wrong. But those two types are way better at waking up early and going for a proper workout than a kapha would. So, and they make sense to me. So Raman Sharma, I love his books, and he's not not right. But I think, and that's how I try to coach as well, whether it's a lot of the coaching I do is on nutrition, but a lot of it is on lifestyle topics, and that relates to sleep as well, to routines, to exercise. And I listen and I look a lot at who is someone, what do they look like physically, what do they tell me, as in what they love and don't love. If your body hates it to wake up at 5, then why would you? Like a kapha is the one that goes to bed after midnight because they love that. Yeah, let them do it.
Yep.
And they wake up later. They wake up maybe at 8. It's a bit of creating routines, but some of it is also very natural. You can try things out. You'll notice when the difference between whether something is just you needing to get into a habit versus, this is just not right for me. You'll know. There are people that hate
Can you
workout.
tell my kid?
Oh my
She's
God,
really not connected to my lifestyle at the moment.
Yeah, so this is actually funny that you say it, because everyone in their lifetime from 0 to 20 is your vata time. Okay, actually now I'm giving my own answer. So your vatas are the people that can wake up the earliest. From 0 to 20 years of your life, everyone is in their vata time of life.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Babies always wake up super early and they go to bed super early at night.
She wakes up early.
Oh, she goes to bed late?
Not going to bed very early, no.
Okay. Most kids, most babies, right?
Most, yeah.
Exactly. So that's your vata
but
time.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Your pitta time is the time between 20 and 40 when you need to, flame and fire and make a career and make babies and find love and, do all these crazy things. And then from 40 till until you die is your kapha time. That's the quieter. We're slowing down. We're getting heavier. We're not doing, too much anymore. That's the flow of life. So it makes a lot of sense that your baby wakes up early. Normal. So yeah. Back to stress then. So why stress is so important for your immune system, because again of this sympathetic versus parasympathetic discussion. If you live your life, which is what most of us do in this society, constantly on adrenaline, that's all your body is trying to digest, literally. That's all your immune cells are working on. So reducing stress is literally your best. Food and stress are your best guesses to go for when it comes to boosting that immune system. So calm down, relax, do things that calm your mind, rest. And resting, like proper resting, not the Instagramming for an hour. And the answer to what does resting mean and what does calm mean is different for everyone. So for someone, it may mean I'm laying in a warm bath with candles every night. And for someone else, it's a yin yoga class and we're reading a book or something. So it's important to find your own answer to this. Like what's my thing that really calms me down and that really makes me connected, grounded, like connected to my body, actually being able to feel what's going on inside, because that's when we feel calm. So the background of this is when you chronically activate your sympathetic nervous system, so that means a continual cortisol release that increases inflammation, is again a constant trigger of your immune system. So that's why it's so important to at least sometimes, half of the time, keep that system in control and down. It's a good mood booster as well, of course. So things that make us happy, like make time for them because they boost your mood, and mood boosters also support your immune system. And it also, and that's actually an interesting part, you are what you believe. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm sick in this, I'm talking about this current situation. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm getting sick. I am sick. Gosh, I might be sick. I don't have a job right now, so I don't have money. I don't have an income. Can I take care of my family? You know, all those stressful thoughts, you become that. If you can step away from that and calm those thoughts down through maybe meditation, through yoga, through reading, through just giving yourself a moment to take a walk or whatever, it helps. I actually see that we completely run over time already, by the way. I don't know how you guys are doing for time.
Okay.
I've got all the time in the world.
It's not an excuse anymore. Like, no, I need to go to my next meeting. Well, I will make it too long. But this one, honestly, take a moment for yourself. Maybe not today. This week is actually a really good week because Wednesday's full moon. Spend some time on Wednesday to journal, to write about like anything that comes up, obviously, but definitely also like, how do I feel in this crazy situation? There's a lot of stuff happening. I left Bali within 3 days and I don't know if I'll be back. So I left my life for 2.5 years in 3 days. Like, I realized only a few days ago, and I've been here almost 2 weeks now, I think over the weekend it kicked in for me. I was like, fuck, I didn't even say goodbye to most of my friends. I had a really weird, not a normal goodbye to Bali. And I'm here now. I don't have a home, not a home base for myself. You know, there's a lot less income than there used to be. Like, there's so much that happened and it only sank in like over the weekend. So, and that's, we all have our things now that we're going through. So don't underestimate that. And giving yourself time, if you want to, specifically on Wednesday, because it's a beautiful day for that, then do some journaling on all this. The other really, really good thing to do is breath work. Because what breath work does, and even the simplest things like just breathing in, counting your breath, and breathing out, counting your breath, maybe breathing in, holding it at the top for the same amount of counts, letting it go, and then holding it like a box breath is what we call that. So in, hold, out, hold, box breath. Simple things like that. There's more complicated techniques, of course, but breath work reduces cortisol levels and blood pressure, and really respond or increases your blood flow, and it supports that immune system as well. So it's a really good way to relax. And it's one of my, to be honest, I don't do it often enough. It's stupid, and every time I do it, I'm like, why do I not do this every day? It's so powerful. So spend some time with this one. It's important. Sorry. Still getting used to the Dutch weather. Hallelujah. Even though it's been good, but it's different. Good quality sleep. When you sleep, your immune cells build up again. So that renewal process that we talked about in the beginning, that happens throughout your sleep. So if you don't sleep enough, like, this is the time to sleep. We have less to do, so please sleep at least 7 hours. Ideally 8, or go 9 or 10 because we don't have much to do anyways. So sleep, super important. And there's also a bunch of cytokines. It's kind of a cell, how to explain it? It's a type of protein that your body releases, and it is released during sleep, and it also literally directly helps to regulate your immune system. And the opposite way, when you do not get enough sleep, there's a bunch of like those infection fighting antibodies that are reduced if you don't get enough sleep. So that goes the other way. So those antibodies that we talked about that come from white blood cells, they don't, they reduce when you do not get enough sleep. So go sleep soon. Super obvious, but vitamin D and fresh air. Vitamin D is one of those super important nutrients to feed the good bacteria in your guts with those 70% immune cells that we talked about. So really important. And of course, it's an amazing immune booster, and it has a calming effect as well. These are the obvious ones, but if you just go outside for at least, and I'm so happy with the sun still, for at least, I don't know, 30 minutes a day to get your movement and your sun and your fresh air in, it changes a lot. And it's the stuff that you don't realize straight away, but keep that as a habit. Yeah, sorry on this one, but smoking and alcohol intake is obviously not amazing. The smoking, like, it's so obvious, especially with a disease going around like this, which is in the lungs, is a respiratory disease. So it's super obvious in that sense. But even if it would have been any other type of disease, how it works is that nicotine and tar, which are the most important, like the main components of a cigarette, your immune system sees that again as an obvious foreign invader. So it's working like its ass off to get that out of the body. So again, stopping to smoke is such an important way to relax, to bring that full energy back into your immune system to fight off the other stuff. And alcohol is slightly different. So what alcohol does, it can damage a specific cell in the body, and that cell is a vital component of your immune system. So it literally kills a bunch of cells that we actually need in our immune system. And on top of that, an increase in alcohol consumption over time can also increase your exposure to all kinds of infections. If it's like a continuous intake. I mean, a glass every now and then. Like, I drink alcohol right now. I have a glass every now and then. I'm just not, obviously not going out, but I'm not drinking bottles. I'm not going wasted. But I have my glass of red wine. That's fine. But definitely limiting that is worthwhile looking into. Obvious, but at least now you know a little bit how it actually works in the body. Practicing good hygiene. It's also an obvious one, but the funny part is, so what this does again, so the things like washing your hands, using disinfectants, the cuffing and sneezing your elbow, and all those other things, if you keep an eye on that, it again reduces the triggers on your immune system for you, and in this case, also for the people around you. And that's why, like, you can say something about how just, you know, a bit nitty gritty on it, like wash your hands 100 times and do this and that. When you walk into the supermarkets here, they have cleaned all of the, like, but it's important because it, like, what we're trying to do, that's the corona thing, and we're trying to flatten the curve. And that's what we do with stuff like this, because we take away the triggers on all these immune systems. And this is a social one, of course. So social distancing is the same thing. It also reduces the trigger that you may give or receive to someone else. Yeah. So it's funny, I don't know what you guys expected. The food is one thing, but there's a lot of other things as well that are related to it. And those are more the lifestyle things. And even though then we get into a bit more the practical way of, like, how can we manifest all of this. We're focusing on this now because we're in a corona situation. At the same time, this is actually the way we should live our lives. Maybe not as crazy washing our hands, agreed. And maybe we can have a glass of wine extra every now and then, but actually this is how you want to live your life. So what I would like you guys to take from this as well is that this is not a 4-week thing until corona is over. Make it a habit now, and you'll have benefits from it for the rest of your life, because there will be more things like corona, first of all. And the same way, like what I said at the start about all these, let's say, elderly diseases like diabetes and Parkinson's and cancer, if you set yourself up in the right way now, while we're still young, We will, and this is what I'm happy with. Like, our generation is the one that has started picking up again on this whole health hype. We don't see the direct results today yet, but we will when we are old. So this is, I really hope you take it home as such. It's not just about Corona. This is about a lifestyle and about implementing habits that you can keep up with, and that support your overall health and immune system, which will help you as well to being less prone for cancer, being less prone for Alzheimer, even if it is in your family. So as an interesting side note is that we always talk about genetics in the diseases that we get over time. There is a part of it is genetics, but it's so little. There's a research that says it's only about 10 to 15% that is genetics and diseases that we may get. The rest is lifestyle. So whatever you do over the course of those 60, 70, 80 years of your life does make the biggest difference. And it's hard because we don't see the result now or tomorrow, but it is there. So take care of yourself now and you'll feel it when we get older. So take it as that as well. And then, so how can you, so all these things, so you probably have a few ideas in mind, like, oh my gosh, this is how I now want to start boosting my immune system. A few notes on to manifest that and to make it practical. So first of all, do the best you can, but don't be perfect. Like, don't get too fussed up about it. Just do what you can. And that means for me, usually, is to start small and to literally tackle one thing at a time. So I don't know, I would love to hear from you what the first thing was that came up today. It was like, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow. If there was anything, I assume there was. So give it a shout. Like, what do you want to do differently now, based on what we talked about today?
For me,
Oh, okay. Let's start at the top. Sam, you go first.
Okay. For me, the big thing was varying the types of beans, but also just vegetables that I'm eating.
Yeah.
Which was so easy in Bali because I feel like most of the time, I could go somewhere and they would prepare the meal for me.
Yeah.
And so it was easy to get a bunch of different vegetables and beans, because right now I'm vegetarian and I'm transitioning to becoming vegan, so I'm trying to be really mindful of that.
Very smart.
And that's been something that I just I know I need to focus on, especially now with the lockdown and I feel limited access to in addition to coming back from Bali, but also just in general the limited access to groceries now. But that's something I'm gonna every single day try to make sure I'm getting a different bean and a different vegetable. And yeah,
that's super good. So take that as your first thing to go and work with. Because the reason why I say this is that often when it comes to nutrition and all the other lifestyle things we discussed, there's 100 things you could do differently. The moment you set yourself 100 goals, or even 10 goals to have achieved within a week or two, you're not going to do it, and you're going to be disappointed in yourself, you're going to hate yourself, and you're going to be demotivated, and it's all not happening.
Yeah.
Right? You probably recognize that. Thank you. So start with one thing this week, maybe two things this week. Not too much. Start small.
Yeah.
And tackle them once at a time, and then celebrate the fact that you've changed something. Tap yourself on the shoulder, hey, I deserve that glass of wine because I did my diversity. Right? Or whatever that means to you. So, and then the other thing is, that's actually, I think, would almost say the most important one, is to create routines. So me and my cup of tea in the morning is such a routine now. I often combine that with either yoga flow or some journaling. It's a routine. It's a bit different now since I'm here, so I'm trying to find my way now here again. But usually, my normal life, that's my routine in the morning. Same for exercise, especially now in these days, we don't have to go anywhere. So spend your first hour or hour and a half or whatever you've got of your day to do all those amazing things to set you up for your day. It makes you feel so good when you start right. It gives you such a good vibe for your whole day. So routines are super important, and routines can also mean when it comes to cooking, for example, like when you do your groceries, making sure you've got all those condiments that I talked about in the beginning, right? Like having your kitchen set up. So maybe Monday is going to be quinoa day, and Tuesday is rice day, and Wednesday is, whatever. If that helps to add some diversity and some structure and routine, because we're humans, we need structure and routines. It helps the world. So planning ahead, very, very helpful in all these areas. So not just the food bit, so all these areas. Yeah, I covered a little bit already. Setting incentives or creating a support system. So it helps a lot as well with doing these things. So if you think about, so for example, and let's say I'll give you guys a little exercise to take home, of course, like to come up with the 3 things you want to go work with in the next, let's say 2 weeks or so. Set an incentive for whenever you've reached each of them. Something small, doesn't have to be a big present, like, I mean, you can, but it can be something small, like maybe I'll buy flowers for myself, or I give myself a bath, or, anything. So incentivize it. And also helps us to make yourself responsible to someone else. So maybe your partner or a friend or a parent or whoever you have around, or you can call anyone. So they hold you responsible for, hey, I set myself this goal, I'm going to do it. And the best way to do it, obviously, is to involve your lockdown buddy. So I don't know, like, what all your situations are except for Elise, but you have around, like, involve them, take them along in this. Go running together, do a workout together, do one of my yoga classes together online, like, do it together. It makes it more fun, and you're way more likely to actually do it. And the last one is knowledge is power. And what I mean by that is, we obviously, I think, hopefully today helped a bit already. When you know and understand why we do particular things, and for example, how stress now, impacts the immune system, how foods impact your gut, and that 70% of your, those type of facts, and starting to do a bit of more of your own research online, start to read about it. When you understand and know why and how these practices help, it will motivate you more to actually do it, because you will also understand what happens if you don't. So that's kind of the, like, there's a word for this, I can't find it right now, but like when you, when you see the negative consequences of something, it may help to prevent it from happening if you focus on, okay, then I'm going to try to do that. If that makes any sense. So, super quick. Can you come up with 3 things right now that you want to work on, let's say, in the next 2 weeks? So, Sam, sorry, we didn't even finish that round. Sam, you started with your diversity. Maybe 1 or 2 more?
I think, okay, so diversity, creating a routine for movement, because right now it's been very sporadic. And I think I lay around more than I should. And I'll sleep, because I'm still like a bit jet lagged. So like working on like getting like back into a sleep schedule.
Okay, so when you say these 3 things, they're very high level categories. You don't have to do it now. Make these super specific, what it means to you and what you're going to do. So routines, you can make a routine of like an hour and a half with like covering 10 things. You can also say, I'll start with 1 thing and I would do the latter. So make it very specific, so it's actually achievable, if that makes any sense. And
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Measurable as well.
Okay.
Okay. Lise.
Yes. Yeah, for me also the last thing you said about knowledge is power. I think that was very helpful for me tonight. I think overall, I'm doing pretty well on most topics, or at least we try to do it as good as possible. But to know a bit more about how it would impact me if we do it differently, that was very helpful to stimulate me to do it even better. I think for me most important was also the focus on diversity in the food again, especially the proteins and the seeds. Because there's a bit of lack in that at the moment. Sleep is not going pretty well at the moment, so I think that is my main priority.
And because of
to
your daughter?
boost. Yeah, she wakes up very early and I go to bed too late. And I think I have to work on more a proper relaxing time. Like now at the moment, what I see almost as me time is cleaning up and running around to organize, which is not relaxing time and me time. So I did some mindfulness a few years ago.
Quick question.
Yeah, I think.
What is your evening routine like? Let's say the hour before you go to bed.
Yeah, just rushing around the house to just organize everything here to be set up for the next day. And most of the time now we end up in watching something on a screen just to clear the head, which I know is not good. So it's
actually the opposite happening. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. So we just
your
had a
action
holiday
there, I
and
think.
we started reading again, which is really good to. So I really want to. That's I think for the upcoming weeks picking up again on the books instead of watching a screen in the evening, and some breath work, which is going to be very helpful.
I think where your routine part comes in is to begin at least with routines in your evening. So what is your sleep routine going to be like? Just an hour before you go to bed, what are the things that are going to calm you down?
So especially in the morning, I'm pretty okay with the routine, but I think it's mainly the evening that should be. And I'm not really in for the garlic in the morning, but maybe I should give it a try.
I get it. It's not amazing, but it's helps. Just if you don't do it, just keep it in mind though. For when you have a proper cold or something, it does help. It does. Okay, Marina.
Well, I'm gonna try with the hot water with the garlic and the ginger and lemon. I do occasionally the ginger and the lemon. I know you should it's advised to do them constantly. And now I started to do them more frequently, but not daily. So that's one thing I want to do, and adding the garlic. I guess if my brain doesn't catch up with what I'm doing at 5 a.m., it's not going to catch up with the garlic either.
Nope.
With the taste of it. So. And then, Liz, you were talking about the evening routine, but I feel like I need to build a morning routine now with this quarantine. Because my mornings up to let's say this weekend, we're just waking up 5 minutes before the daily meeting. And then my day starts after the meeting. I have my coffee, breakfast, and then I ease into it. So I would really like to see how this exercising in the morning works, tailor it, give it a week. And a third thing, sleep. I feel like I am getting enough sleep, apart from last few nights, but it's very chaotic. So I either go to sleep at 2 a.m. or I go to sleep at 9 p.m. So trying to
especially, it's funny that you mentioned this now, because especially in the situation that we are right now, routines have never been more important, honestly. That's the only thing we can hold on to right now. There's nothing more. So if you have a job that still has meetings at set times or anything, that's kind of helpful because it forces you to create that routine. But if you don't, like here, for example, me, it's keeping your own routine is the only thing that will give you structure. And humans are we can say we're not and we don't need it, but humans are naturally habitual beings. We need structure and we need routines. We go crazy if we don't. We like that for a little while in a holiday, and even several people create a routine in a holiday, but we need that. So starting your day right and winding down your day right is actually going to solve most of your problems, if you have any, but you know what I mean, like problems at the moment. So that's super important. So I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to email you guys, first of all, tomorrow to send you the presentation, but also in 2 weeks to check in how you're doing on this. Not because I'm you, but just curious, obviously, and see how you go, and to motivate you a little bit. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. And first of all, yeah, was it helpful?
Yeah.
Let's pose as a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very
Okay.
helpful.
Especially because you hear a lot, and I read quite a lot, but it's to just focus a bit on these topics a bit more with some background. It's just stimulating to keep going on the upcoming weeks, because it will take way longer than we expected.
Yeah.
So it is at least very stimulating to keep going.
Cool. That sounds super
and
good.
And to create some structure. And also, that's one thing I wanted to say again. Also, the thing we talked about in the beginning, with tune in with your cycle. That was one other thing. That's really it was last week I found an article about it, which was also about winter, summer, and spring. And then I also thought, like, I really should pay more attention to that, and especially now it's maybe way more important than any other time. So
it's super important. I will share the title of the book in the email if I send the presentation. Well, it's super interesting. It's not easy though, because it requires some effort to do that and to say no. So get prepared to say no, like a lot. That's quite tough, but it's really, really interesting. Even if you don't do all of it, it does help you. And she explains that really nicely to at least have acceptance and kindness towards the things that come up and the feelings that you have, and why in some periods things work amazingly and everything seems to work out, and sometimes they don't. And that may be related to the cycle or the phase that you're in. So it just creates a lot of acceptance and kindness towards all of that too, even if you don't do anything with it. So that's, it was a good point. I'm actually really glad you brought it up. I hadn't planned to cover it, so I'll do that on a next time with a new group as well. Is there anything, because I'm going to keep doing things like this. Are there other topics that you feel like would be helpful in these days?
Especially these days? Or you mean just general?
Especially these days, but anything is welcome.
Yeah.
If you don't have to say it now, it's just keep in mind, like, if you think of something, like, it's most helpful for me to, let's say, talk about issues that you actually have instead of me coming up with them, if that makes sense. So send me ideas if you've got anything like, oh, you should do a masterclass or a workshop on that, then feel free to send that over. It would be super helpful for me as well. And if you feel like you need some more like one-on-one support with whatever all of this, or some more detailed support with, I don't know, going from vegetarian to vegan or whatever it is for you, feel free to reach out. I'm offering, normally I don't offer one-off one-on-one coaching sessions, but I do now just because of this crazy situation. It's usually always programs that people do with me with 6 or 12 sessions, but I'm doing just one-off sessions now as well. if anyone's interested. Yeah, or come join the